Hey, it's your girl Paula Marie, aka Black Girls Do Pilates too. Let me change this up a little bit. Listen, happy Wellness Wednesday. Even though Wednesday is almost over, Wednesday is the day that we really talk about pouring into ourselves and nurturing ourselves a little bit more. So I am excited to see you in the house. For those of you who don't know who I am, or if we're meeting for the first time, I am Paula Marie, aka Black Girls Do Pilates too. And on Wednesdays, on Wellness Wednesdays, we talk a little bit more about how to pour into ourselves, how to nurture ourselves, all of the things, health and wellness, as it pertains to us as Black super powerful women. I'm excited to be able to share just a couple of things with you all today. So I will not be keeping you here long, but I am so excited. I got so much to share. We're only going to be here for just a few minutes, but it's important for me to be able to put a face and a voice to what we all know and love in terms of just being as healthy as we can possibly be in the bodies that we've been given, and also to be able to pay homage to that in some way. So I'm excited to be able to do that in each and every way that I can. And let's jump into it. So, as I said, there's a lot of really great things popping off. Wanted to share Miss Giselle Bonds in the house. Just wanted to give her like a huge, super powerful shout out. She's going to be our resident photographer on the next Mind Body Reset Retreat, which is in Curacao this June. It's sold out, y'all. So don't even ask me about it. It's been sold out. I'm so blessed to say it's been sold out since September. And so it's important for us to be able to document us having very like super powerful experiences, but also to be able to just normalize the fact that we are taking time out for ourselves, that we're putting ourselves first. And that was important for me to make sure that I had someone who was just responsible for that piece. Because, I'm capable of all the things, but the capacity is not always there. So I'm excited to say that we have just secured Miss Giselle Bonds, and she'll be traveling with us to Curacao to document the entire experience. We'll be there for 5 nights and 6 days. Correction, we added an extra night. So we'll be there for 6 nights and 7 days in the beautiful place of Curacao, which is labeled the safest location for Black women to travel alone. So I'm excited to be able to get all the Afro Caribbean culture that we can soak up. But I just wanted to give Miss Giselle Bonds a shout out. Okay. So if you're watching and you know Giselle, definitely shout her out in the comments because, child, she has I just pulled this up. Let me make sure I don't want to say the wrong thing. Um, let me see. I just pulled up her bio. Yeah, she has over 32 years of experience as a photographer. She's owned and operated her own studio, which closed down during COVID. And now she is just traveling, baby. She is traveling and she is moving and shaking and connecting with branding photos and also personal photos as well. So, because this is my business and because I know her in the business world, I don't know who else I would ever trust other than Miss Giselle Bonds. All right. So definitely give her a shout out. If you know Giselle, like shout her out in the comments. All righty. Okay. The next thing that I wanted to talk about. Oh, before I move on to that, I'd be talking so fast, y'all. I'd be talking so fast. If you are interested in our next retreat for 2025 is Ghana. We'll be going to Ghana in Tago. I always say it wrong. We'll be going to those two places, and there may be an add-on. I just spoke to my travel agent today, and so she's working on that. That's going to be in 2025. It's going to be in the summer. You've got over, let's see, 14 months. You'll have 14 months to pay that thing off completely. So if that's something that interests you, our next wellness retreat for 2025, that's going to be my 55th birthday year. So we got to go someplace special, okay, for the 5 to 5. So we're going to be going back to the motherland, to Ghana, Togo, and a third add-on. If you want to go to the add-on, all of that will be available. You got to be on my e-list. So my e-list is that's the list of people that said, yo, let me know first when you're going on your next retreat. That's why my retreats sell out so quickly. So if you want more information about that, definitely get on the e-list. The link is in the description, but it's also like scrolling. It's scrolling. Like, yeah. So catch it, www.mindbodyresetretreats with an S.com. Alrighty. So I want to talk about National Pilates Day. So I want to like bag it up. Got a lot of announcements popping off in the health and the wellness field. But National Pilates Day this year is May the 4th. May the 4th. It's always the first Saturday in every May. Okay. Just happens to be May the 4th this year. Let me tell you something about this thing that I got popping off for you all for National Pilates Day. It's a whole vibe, baby. I've been very blessed to have partnered. I partnered with some really great people, but this year for National Pilates Day, we're having a National Pilates Day Spa Day. And let me get myself out the way because you can't even see. Hold on. Let me get myself out the way so you can really see what's going on. Alrighty. So National Pilates Day Spa Day is going to be this year at Bali and Spring Spa. That is the immersion room. We'll host our Pilates class inside of the immersion room. We'll also be taking our after the Pilates class, we're going to eat because I got to feed y'all. And then we're going to go to our second workshop of the day where we're going to be talking about burnout versus balance. And that's what I want to talk to you a little bit more about today. So if you're interested in that, definitely go to my website, which is Black Girls Do Pilates, the number 2. There it is, scrolling underneath. It's also in the description too. And then you'll be able to enjoy the entire spa. Let me tell you what's happening. First of all, you get a huge discount because you're part of my crew. So the admissions rate to get in is discounted considerably for my group. So I've negotiated that for you. I'm feeding you because they have 3 restaurants and a full bar inside of this spa. I'm feeding you real food. Okay, you're gonna get some real food. So you're gonna get some nourishment. The second thing is that not only are we having a Pilates workshop, but we're also having a rap session. This is going to be a conversation that we're going to have inside of, I'm not sure if we're going to have it inside of the theater or if we're going to go into the meditation room. There's just so many beautiful spaces. So I've got to really decide on where we're going to be. But just so you're clear, this is important for us to be able to network and see that there are other Black women like us that want to normalize nurturing ourselves, that want to pour into ourselves, that want to dedicate time, that want to map out how we're going to do it. That's important in and of itself. Look at that space. That's the bottom floor. There are 3 levels inside of this spa. The top level is a rooftop heated infinity pool. Okay. All right. So that's what you're getting. Okay. So if you're interested in that, definitely go to my website, www.blackgirlsdopilates2, to be able to get on all the information and reserve. Now, my people, they've already reserved. There's only a handful of spots. This is not going to be an event for like 50 people. It's going to be a very, very small group of 20. My people have already gotten their seats. So please make sure that you If you're interested, you better get your girlfriends, get your besties. Like if you're coming into town, make it a weekend. Come on into the DMV, okay? Come into the DMV and spa with us. And then I don't know, I may do like a brunch on Sunday. I'm gonna check with all the registrants and see if they just want to get together and we'll just do a brunch on Sunday and make it a whole weekend vibe. Because if you're in a DMV, you need to make it a whole weekend vibe, right? So if you're coming in from out of town and you're thinking about it and you're like, oh, I wish I was in the DMV, come through, sis. Okay, get your best friend, get your besties, and say, yo, let's go to the DMV first weekend in May. We're going to do this spa day. Now, this is the thing about your spa day. We don't start until 1, but you get access to the facility from the time it opens until the time it closes. You don't have to wait until our registration time. You have access for that spa for the whole 12 hours with our special discounted rate that I've negotiated with you. Okay. So you could be halfway through your spa. Okay. You could be halfway through your spa when we start our classes up at 1. Okay. So I've negotiated some really great things from you. And then after we finish our workshops, it's up to you to enjoy that thing. So click the link. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments. I'll definitely answer those. And share this live out to to your people. Share this live out to your people. Okay. Say, girl, you need to get on this live because she's talking about some stuff you need to be into. All right. Last but not least, last bit of business. We're talking about balance versus burnout. And if you are interested in receiving some health and wellness tips, I have a blog bi-weekly that goes out to the people that are on my list. Go to the website scrolling below and you can subscribe to that. It's every other week. And one of the things that we're going to be talking about inside of our roundtable is how do we eliminate burnout in Black women, because there's so much that we have going on, and how do we pour more balance into our like day to day? How do we make sure that we infuse balance into the foundations of how we move? That's super important. So I'm excited to be able to talk to you all about that. But just understand that one of the reasons why Black women burn so quickly is because, well, we birth the world, honey. Like, we take care of this world. Okay, that's number one. But because we have been taught to grin and bear it, we've been taught to not ask for help, we've been taught not to cry, not to complain, not to show emotion. We've been taught to push and power through. And even though those are our superpowers, we do feel, we do bleed, and we do get tired. And so it's important for us to understand ways to create balance. That's why it was so important for me to make sure that everything that I'm doing has some level of balance for my clients. So even though we're celebrating National Pilates Day, we're doing it at the spa. Normally we're in the studio, but it was important for me to understand that I need to make sure that I give you more so that you can pour into yourselves and be able to go back and pour into your families and your communities and the people and the places that are the most important to you. But how do we do that on a daily? How do we infuse that into our weekly schedule? How do we give ourselves that that grace and the permission to be able to do that? That's the conversation that we're going to have in our roundtable. And it's important because we as Black women, we are challenged every single day. We are challenged with the systemic racism. There's gender discrimination. We all know about that, right? Okay. But then there's this cultural expectation of us to show up in a certain way. And there's so many layers to who we are. So if you had 20 Black women in a room, we're all going to show up differently because we're just so diverse. We're just so bomb. And then we have so many roles, so many levels of expectations on us. We've got to be a caregiver. We've got to show up professionally. We've got to be leaders of our communities. We've got to hold ourselves accountable, not only for ourselves, but for the people around us. And that's heavy. That's a heavy, like 50-pound, 100-pound weight that we're carrying. So I'm excited to be able to have that conversation, but I wanted to leave you with three things that will help you to get to this place where we're setting boundaries. And if you like what I'm saying, again, please share this out, but also talk to me in the comments. Let me know who you are. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know, even hashtag replay. Just let me know in the comments if you picking up just a little bit of what I'm putting down. Okay. So some of the ways that we can create more balance to eliminate that thing called burnout is to prioritize our own self-care. That means we've got to put ourselves in front. We're not on the end of the list. It's not when I do one, two, and three, I'm going to focus on me. It's let me focus on me. Let me take the bubble bath first. Let me take a sip of the tea first. Look, listen. Let me watch the trashy reality TV show that helps me to decompress and turn off my brain. That may not be your thing, but it's my thing, okay? It's part of my self-care, right? Let me turn all the alarms off my phone. I'm on spring break this week. So I took a day off from the studio because I needed it. I needed just a day where I had a whole complete day off, and that was today. I turned my alarms off. My body wakes up when it wants to, and that's what it's going to do for the next 5 more days. I got 5 more days, right? We have to prioritize self care. We've got to make time for activities that recharge us. We've got to do things not that we feel we have to do, but we got to do things that like make our souls happy. And that's one thing that we definitely need to infuse more of as Black women. It's okay for us to laugh. It's okay for us to be happy. It's okay for us to be joyful. It's okay for us to be silly. It's okay. We need to smile more. I read somewhere that a person needs at least 17 touch points, like physical touch points throughout the day. That could be a hug, it could be a hand on the shoulder, it could be an embrace, it could be eye contact, like meaningful eye contact. But let's take inventory. How many of us are actually getting 17 minimally, right? We've got to open ourselves up to more situations and around more people that can give us those interactions that nurture us and pour into us and give us the energy to be able to show up and be our most powerful selves. So we've got to prioritize our self-care, right? We've got to also, and I'm excited about this because I'm doing some research for my next book, and my I'll share that with you next week. But my next book is going to be super powerful. It pertains to the self-care for Black women. I'm so excited. And inside of that research, I was excited to hear and see that there are so many sisters that are actually embracing seeking support and seeking therapy, seeking counseling, seeking mentorship, right? No more doing this on our own. No more trying to be like the strong Black woman on our own. No more trying to like push through. No more pushing our own feelings down, right? Stuffing our feelings down so that we can show up for everyone else. I was so excited to see that that came up in the research that I was doing for this book because it's important that we give ourselves grace to be our most powerful selves. So, number two is seeking the support, right? Seeking support. And the third one, and this is the one that we really gotta like take inventory of, right? We have to address internalized pressure, this pressure we place on ourselves to be perfect, to excel, to be our best, giving you boundaries of how you can't show up, how you can't feel, how you can't look, instead of giving you permission to say, yeah, I can show up like that. I can feel like that. I can move like that, right? That's an internalized pressure that we put on ourselves, the expectations that we put on ourselves. And I'm not talking about the goals because we know we're highly driven in excellence. We know that. We're not talking about that. What I'm talking about is this pressure that leads to anxiety, that leads to you being fearful, that leads to you always looking at yourself as if you're under a microscope, analyzing every little thing that you do, not honoring the missteps that happen because we can't get to our highs without analyzing those low points and learning from them and evolving and molding those into our next step up. We've got to learn how to be okay with prioritizing ourselves first over all of the expectations, over work, even over family. Um, I literally just decided that I'm going to go home yesterday. But normally I would have been home. I'm off and I'm on spring break. But I realized that for me, because I've been going through the first quarter of the year is always challenging for me. And last year, the first quarter of the year did me in to the point where I hit such a, a low place in terms of like my energy was depleted, knowing I was shifting in my journey and just needing to be still enough and silent enough to see what that is, right? And so I allowed myself to sink so that I could pour back into myself and just kind of like reorganize some things of how I wanted to show up in my excellence, right? And in my superpower. I didn't want that to happen. So this year I did some things because I analyzed it and I allowed myself to move how I wanted to move. And part of that was spring break is not the time for me to run all over the place for everybody else. Spring break this year is going to be my time for me. And so I did not have the plan to go anywhere to do anything. The plans just kind of evolved where I was doing nothing. And I was okay with that. Right. And then when I made the decision to go home, it's not, well, I'm going to go home at the first available. As soon as I'm done with all my things, I'm going to go home. I didn't even say that. I said, I'm going to go home when I absolutely have to. There's an event on Saturday. I'm leaving Saturday morning. I need more time for me. So it's okay for me to let go of the external expectations. And it's okay for you too, sis. It's okay. Whatever pressure people are saying, right? That's their pressure. That's not your pressure. Okay. Whatever expectations people have on you, those are their expectations. They're not your expectations, right? You've got to put yourself first. And as long as you're always putting yourself first, you're going to be okay. But when you stop and you start to say, hey, this is getting to be a little bit much, that's when you know you need to reach for the oxygen mask. You get to put that thing on yourself first. As Black women, we need to give ourselves permission to just put our hand up and pause all of the chatter around us so that we can show up to nurture ourselves first. So that was the three things that I wanted to share with you. There's actually nine. If you're interested in reading more about the balance versus burnout, if you want more, you want to read that blog, definitely go to the link that's scrolling underneath me. www.blackgirlsdopilates2, and you'll be able to subscribe to my bi-weekly blog. So I'm going to recap. I'm going to recap real quick because I know I got some people coming in. Go and definitely share this out and let me know in the comments if you're picking up any of the things that I put down. And I want you to just think on it. We don't have to make decisions about any of the things that we need to shift, pivot, or change on today. We can marinate on them. Sometimes when we sit on things, they just automatically like make a way for themselves. So, the number one thing that I wanted to talk to you about is prioritizing your self care. Like, we got to prioritize ourselves first, right? We've got to make sure that we're doing things like put it in the calendar. Like, put it in the calendar, write it out. Monday at 6 o'clock, I'm doing this. Okay. Sunday at 10 a.m., I'm going to dance class. And it doesn't have to be like this. I'm starting dance class every other week on Saturday, every other week on Saturday. And hopefully the goal is on during the summer when I'm in town, because you know I'll be in these streets, it'll be every week because the sister be busy. But at least if I can hit it twice a month, right? I'm doing something for myself. So it doesn't have to be this strict schedule, right? It's just got to be, I've got to put some time on the calendar for just me to do the things I enjoy. That's all. That's it, right? Um, and if we do that, then we'll be, oh my God, we'll be so much better for it. We'll be so much better for it. Number two, talking about setting boundaries, very clear boundaries that prevent us from burning out. We've got to be, oh, I'm sorry. That wasn't it. It was seeking support. Number two is seeking support. That was a bonus. Make sure to write that down as your bonus, setting boundaries. When we're seeking support, whether it's mentorship, whether it's therapy, whether it's a friend circle, whether it's a best friend, we got to get the things out of our bodies. We got to talk it out. We got to get the things out of our heads. We've got to be able to set these things free, put some air to them. Once you get them out of your bodies, they tend to look different. And then we can tend to work on those things a little bit more. But us as Black women being silent, being quiet, being strong, showing up for everyone else and not ourselves, those days are dead. We're still strong and powerful, but we're stronger and we're more powerful because we were strong enough and fearless enough to seek support. So remember that. And then the third and last one is that we got to address the internalized pressure, y'all. We got to stop putting so much pressure on ourselves that we are losing ourselves in the process, that we are giving ourselves this imaginary view of what we want to look like instead of tapping into how we want to feel. I want to feel I want to feel strong. I want to feel empowered. I want to feel grateful. I want to feel free. I want to feel happy. I want to feel um, joyful. I want to feel hopeful. All those are things I want to feel, right? And I can't feel those things if I am putting unnecessary pressure on myself to show up in this way based off of other people's assumptions and expectations of me, based off of what the world perceives me to be as a Black woman, right? Because I know who I am. I can't be any of the things that I just listed if I'm so busy thinking and focusing on the external expectations that I am putting on myself. I wanted to give somebody grace with that, and I wanted to release somebody with that. So that's the last one. That's the last one. All righty. So I wanted to make sure I showed up, and I wanted to make sure that I was able to give everybody enough. Tony Jackson, thank you so much for hanging in there with me, sis. Okay. I'm definitely catching what you putting down, making it a point in 2024, making myself and my self care priority. Yes. That's what I'm talking about. I want that. I want that for everybody, right? I want everybody to feel that way. Because if you feel that way, then you're going to show up and be the best you that you can be. And that's okay. That's what you're supposed to do. Put the oxygen mask on yourself first. Yes. Thank you so much, Tony, for hanging in there with me. I'm your girl, Paula Marie, aka Black Girls Do Pilates too. The links are all in the description. If your hashtag replay, please comment below. Let me know if any of the three plus the bonus that I gave you, any of those three things resonate with you. And if you want to talk about that more, join us in Washington, D.C. area, the D, the M, and the V, where we're going to be focusing on National Pilates Day. Inside of National Pilates Day Spa Day, we're going to have an entire spa day that's sponsored by Bali and Spring Spa. I'm excited to bring that to you. Thank you so much for showing up, and I'll see you later. Peace.